From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. So, there's an abandoned Tasmanian airport on the island's west coast that will soon be home to a sharp-angled steel structure with a pretty haunting purpose. It's going to record every step humanity takes toward catastrophe. Now, this structure, known as Earth's Black Box, will be perched on the granite landscape of western Tasmania, which is an island about 150 miles off the Australian mainland. And it will be up and running by the end of the year if all goes to plan. The box's design is imposing, roughly the size of a city bus, and made of 3-inch thick steel. It will be surrounded by concrete panels and covered by a roof of tough glass with solar panels underneath. It's all to protect and power what's going on inside. The box will record hundreds of climate data points and pieces of contextual information, everything from temperatures and sea level rise to political speeches and climate reports. Rob Beamish, founder and creative director of the environmental communications agency Rouser Lab, said that it's essentially an indestructible, self-powered data recording device. In the immediate future, Beamish said the box will be talking to the world, communicating current data sets and findings. People will be able to view the data online, and visitors to the site will be able to connect to the box via their cell phones. But long-term, the idea is to create a record for future civilizations if climate change wipes out humanity, providing an unbiased account of the events that lead to the demise of the planet. The box is part art installation, part data repository, part old-fashioned time capsule, and part fear generator. Now, for those behind the project, the box is intended as a call to action, snapping people's attention toward the escalating climate crisis. Now, there are some climate experts who question the project's ability to have a long-term impact and to motivate action. There's also the tricky part of figuring out how descendants of humanity will be able to access the box's data. Now, the black box is named after the Black Box Flight Recorder, an almost indestructible device on airplanes that stores flight data, including pilots' decisions, and it helps investigators reconstruct accidents. For the purposes of this project, the planet is the plane and humanity is the pilot. The box does aim to provoke some fear as well, which Beamish calls a massive motivator for climate action. But he also hopes that it will provoke some hope as well. He said, "The plane is still in the air. There is still hope to really avoid the very worst of climate change." The box's completion would mark the end of a long process. It was first announced back in 2021 at the time of the COP26 UN climate talks in Glasgow, immediately generating some buzzy headlines. At the time, the project leaders said the box would be completed in 2022. Well, here we are 4 years later, and construction is yet to start, although its components are currently being assembled. Citing the need for the right design and engineering plans and funding, Beamish said, "It's a really audacious project, but the hope is everything will be up and running by December." In Tasmania, local authorities appear to welcome the project. Shane Pitt, the mayor of the West Coast region, said the island was chosen because it's one of the most geologically and politically stable regions in the world. He believes the box may have the added benefit of drawing more tourists to this remote area of the island, home to around 4,600 people. Catherine Hayhoe, an atmospheric scientist at Texas Tech University and chief scientist of the Nature Conservancy, said the box could serve as a validator for the records already preserved by the Earth. The planet keeps its own climate history, conserved in natural features such as tree rings and ice cores and corals, which allows scientists to reconstruct a picture of the climate going back millennia. The black box could help preserve records at more precise timescales. But she questioned the idea that fear will prompt any action. Now, fear is a motivator for climate awareness and information sharing, but not action, she said. Why not? Because if you don't know what to do, you'll simply do nothing. Anthony Lazarowitz, a professor of climate communication at Yale School of the Environment, said fear usually provokes a fight or flight response, which is excellent at motivating behavior when someone faces an immediate threat, say a saber-toothed tiger about to pounce on you. But it's not a sustainable emotion, he added. And climate change is not like a saber-toothed tiger. Climate change is a chronic problem that gets progressively worse over decades. Even if the project is effective in sparking awareness, Lazarowitz added, it would need repeated stories over years to stay in people's minds. Beamish hopes the box will continue to provoke and show people that there's still time to influence climate outcomes. He said, it exists to force the climate reality and the existential risk of climate change into the public consciousness. That's really what it's there for. That's all for now. You can find regional forecasts and more science-based articles at AccuWeather.com, and for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day, stay weather aware, and I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.